What's up, y'all? Thank you for clicking on this video and taking the time to watch it. I just wanted to introduce myself, give you a little background about myself, and talk about the farm, what we grow, what we do, and what some of our goals for the future are. So, my name is Farmer Andy. You can call me Farmer Andy, you can call me Andy, you can call me Vegetable Boy, you can call me dude down the street at farms. You can call me any of these things. These are all things that I'm referred to by my community. But I go by Farmer Andy, and I am the owner and founder of Cincy Urban Farm, which is a small urban farm in Cincinnati, Ohio, located in the United States. We were established in 2017, so this is going to be our second year in production. We sell direct to customers through 2 farmers markets currently, and then also to neighbors, friends and neighbors. The farm is located on about an acre of land, an eighth of that land which is tillable for propagating fruits and vegetables. The farm is broken up into different blocks, and we also have a prep station, a garage, and 2 high tunnels. So the current high tunnel that I'm standing in, this is the oldest high tunnel. This was finished last year, so this is this second year in production. This high tunnel measures, it's 10 feet wide by 25 feet long, 10-foot high ceilings, so it's a 250 square foot tunnel. Last year I put 110 tomato plants in here. This year, as you can see, they're all strung up. This year I was able to fit 120 tomato plants in this tunnel. So as an urban farmer, I think one of my responsibilities is to push the limits of farming to see how much food I can grow in as little space as possible, using as little resources as possible. So a lot of the stuff you'll see around the farm, is stuff, I have people, since I live in such a community, everybody sees what I'm doing. I have people that just stop by and offer me all kinds of things. So like this high tunnel, the start of it was someone offered me 2 hoops. So it was kind of like the start of a greenhouse. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I will say as a disclosure that everything that I'm going to show you, including this high tunnel, is stuff that I have designed and built myself. So a little bit about my background. I graduated from college with a degree in wood technology. I wanted to pursue a furniture business. I wanted to run my own furniture business, building furniture, which I pursued part-time for quite a few years. And then in 2013, I switched to a plant-based diet, which made me want to start growing food so that I could save money, get the highest nutrient food, and know where my food was coming from. So before 2013, I had never grown a single fruit or a single vegetable in my life. I knew nothing about gardening, I knew nothing about farming, I knew nothing about plants. But YouTube is an amazing tool. I started watching hours and hours and hours of YouTube. I'd be up till 1 a.m. in the morning just binge watching different farmers, different gardeners, and just seeing how people were growing stuff. So in 2013, I started gardening in 2 raised beds. And then in 2016, I was offered a market manager position at one of the local farmers markets that I shopped at. So starting in 2013, I started doing research, and I started going and attending about 5 to 6 farmers markets every week in my city. Just talking to different farmers, learning what they grew, finding out who had the best produce. So when I was offered a market manager position in 2016, I had no idea what responsibilities a market manager had, but I accepted the position because I knew it would allow me to make more connection with farmers and also the customers that shopped at that farmers markets. So as being a market manager, I was required to be at market every week, and that allowed me to see what farmers brought to market, what farmers took home from market. It allowed me to see what customers' buying habits were, how much money were customers spending each time they came to market. And it really was like market research for me. So one of the biggest things that I always tell people is that do your research. Go to as many farmers markets as possible. Look at how people have their tents displayed, and just take mental notes and take notes of what everyone's bringing, what everyone's taking home, what are people buying the most of. So being a market manager for a year really jump-started me wanting to farm. So the next year, I asked all the vendors at the farmers market if I could also be a vendor. Not only did I want to be the market manager, but I wanted to be a vendor. So in 2017, last year, that was my first year. I only sold at one market last year, and I was still growing, so I didn't want to take on too much too fast. So I started selling at that farmers market last year. Now this year, 2018, I'm going to be selling at 2 farmers market. And the goal for the next year and years to come is to acquire more property and be able to sell not only to the 2 farmers markets, directly to customers, but also be able to sell to local restaurants and sell wholesale locally to little mom and pop grocery stores, and maybe even grocery stores like Whole Foods eventually. So that's a little bit about my background. Now I want to take you on a little tour around the farm, show you what we're growing, how we work, some of the systems we have in place, and also talk about a few more of the things that we want to look forward to, and that the few more of the goals that we have for the next year and years to come. Alright, so currently we are inside of my house in my spare bedroom, and this is where it all starts. We grow, I'm a 4-season farmer, so I grow throughout the winter for the winter farmers markets, and also I have a few neighbors that buy from me throughout the whole winter. But in here, this is where it all starts. Beginning in January to February, we'll start planting seedlings in here, and then I'll show you outside. Once the seedlings get tall enough, and once the weather is warm enough, we take them outside to the polycarbonate greenhouse, which is unheated, so we got to wait until the weather gets hot enough. But then that's where everything goes after that. So currently in here, you can see there is microgreens galore. So right now we're doing about, for the 2 farmers markets, we're producing about 16 to 20 trays of microgreens a week. And like I said, at the beginning of the year, all these shelves are filled with little seedlings that are started in here before they go outside. So I've just walked out my back door. We're currently standing in my backyard on my back porch. And once plants get established enough inside, they will come outside into this 6x8 polycarbonate greenhouse, which I currently have some tomatoes, beans, cucumbers, cucamelons, lettuce, a few things that are about ready to go out into the field. So everything is started inside in the grow room, and then it comes out here to the 6x8 polycarbonate greenhouse, and then it's all transplanted into the fields, into the raised beds that you'll see here in a minute. So as we come down the steps of my patio, we get right into the prep station, which is a lean-to that I designed and built off of my garage. So the garage was already here. It's just last year at the beginning of the year, I put a lean-to onto it so that it has somewhere to wash and store, package, and store all my fruits and vegetables that I sell from market. So behind me you can see we got the greens drying station. Over here we got all the coolers. As we walk back here, you can see I got the walk-in cooler with the window unit and the cool bot. So right now, the prep station was good enough for one market. Now that we are in 2 markets this year, the prep station just gets a little crowded. We have more containers, we have more coolers, we need more room. So one of the goals this year is to create a new prep station on the back of the garage, which I'll show you at the end. But we just need more prep room stations so that we can be more efficient in our post-harvest actions and our post-harvest curriculum. So right here, this is where the video started at. This is the first greenhouse or high tunnel that I built. Like I said, it was finished last year at the beginning of the year, so this is its 2nd year in production. Throughout the summer, both greenhouses will be filled with tomatoes, and then I overwinter either spinach or lettuce in there for winter markets. So we're still currently in my backyard, and as you can see here, we got the farm dog. That's Marley. But along the fence, I have some perennial fruits and vegetables. I have some asparagus back there, some grapes, some cucamelons. This isn't really stuff that I sell at market. It's more stuff for myself, and we just vine along the fence. And this is probably the most grass that you're going to see on my property. The only reason I leave this grass is because I do have 2 dogs, this one and one other dog. So they do need somewhere to do their business. So that's why you do see this little bit of grass. Don't hate, I know. You know, grow food, not lawns. I'm all about that. That's why I do what I do. So now we are kind of in my side property. So this is a property that was a vacant lot that I bought at the beginning of last year, and this is its 2nd year in production. So behind me you can see my other high tunnel, and you can also see the first block on the farm, which consists of 7 45-foot beds that are currently in full production. We have some carrots, lettuce, spinach, sugar snap peas, more spinach, Swiss chard, and now I'm going to take you back to the second greenhouse, which this greenhouse is the 1st year in production, and I'll show you what we got growing in there so far. Also, one of the really cool things about being an urban farmer, like I said before, is, you know, I live on such a busy street and people see what I'm doing that people just stop by and give me stuff. So what you see behind me right here is actually it's a high tunnel. It's hoops for a high tunnel that someone actually gave me. And actually this high tunnel that I'm about to show you, someone actually gave me all the hoops for that. So I actually got it pretty much. I ended up spending half the cost of what I would have buying a new greenhouse, because all I had to do was buy the plastic, you know, build the end walls and get the wood for the end walls and stuff like that. Well, that's one really cool thing about being an urban farmer, is connecting with your neighbors and just resources. These greenhouses would have just sat in a barn that someone had not I accepted to take them. So I just wanted to add that in there. This plot that I just showed you right here, it is all irrigated through impact sprinkler heads. So every plot is irrigated a little bit differently. This one has 2 zones and it's irrigated with impact sprinkler heads. Behind me you can see my property actually borders up to a park. So this is a baseball field, soccer field / football field. Whatever season it is, there's little kids playing on that field. And my farm is actually located within 2 blocks. So there's 2 schools within 2 blocks of my house. So I get school kids walking by daily, and I get kids that stop by and ask me questions that say, I love your gardens, I love your, you know, no one really knows that I'm farming. Everyone just thinks that this is a hobby, that I'm just, you know, gardening in my free time, which is what it started out as, but now it's become my living, it's become what I do, it becomes, you know, I've always enjoyed it, and, you know, people just think it's a hobby, but no, this is a way to make a living, and that's really cool. So currently we are in my 2nd high tunnel. Like I said, this is its 1st year in production. You can see over here we already got 2 beds planted out with tomatoes. There's a bed of spinach, another bed of spinach, and then a bed of radishes, which I just harvested today for market tomorrow. Please excuse the ambulance. Like I said, I live on a pretty busy street, so you hear church bells, you hear trains, you hear ambulances. I mean, there's all kinds of noises. But this greenhouse is double the size of my first greenhouse. So this greenhouse measures about 20 feet wide by 25 feet long. I have 5 30-inch beds in here. Once all the tomatoes are planted out in here, I estimate that I can squeeze about 160 tomato plants in here, which will all be trellised up and grown the same way that the other ones are. You know, intensively growing tomatoes vertically. So I'm going to walk you back. We're going to go out to the front yard, and I'll show you how I push the limits of farming, of urban farming, and how I really leave no square inch of land unused that gets sun. So really one of the only downfalls of my farm, one second. So really one of the only downfalls of my farm is I got a huge elm tree right here. which if this elm tree wasn't here, I could easily fit another, I'd say 12 to 15 30-inch beds by 40 feet by 45 foot long. But this elm tree has been here so long, it's probably over 200 years old, and I just don't have the heart to take it down, you know, just to grow more vegetables. You know, ideally in the next year or two, Cincy Urban Farm would like to find another plot of land that we can grow on, so that we can get into more, so that we can get into wholesale and also selling to local restaurants. So back behind me, you can see this is my biggest block on the farm. It consists of 12 30-inch beds that are 45 feet long. It's almost in full production. There's one bed that's covered, but we have red Russian kale, spinach, zucchini, tomatoes, peppers. We have everything out here, and this whole plot is irrigated with drip irrigation. And then over right in front of my house, I have some strawberry bushes, blackberry bushes, all kinds of perennial fruits that I grow. It's more for me to eat. I don't really produce enough to sell them at market, but you know, I love experimenting with different things. So as you can see behind me, you can see the sidewalk, and then my first bed is created right there. So like I said, I am pretty much pushing the limits. You know, I go right up to the sidewalk. There is a median here between the sidewalk and the street, but over here that I'm about to show you, there's actually no median in between the sidewalk and the street. So I'm standing on the sidewalk here, and you can see over here I have Salanova lettuce, and then I also have arugula in the other bed that you see. And these beds are planted right along the sidewalk. Kids walk by these every day. The neighbors walk by these, walking their dogs, going to the rec, going to the park. So it's really cool being an urban farmer and building that kind of community, and just getting to know your neighbors and exposing people to what a farm looks like, what growing your own food really looks like. So over here, we got some Salanova lettuce. I got some tomatoes up in this raised bed. As we walk down the sidewalk, you'll see I have some arugula here, and then there is some zucchini in that bed. So 2 years ago, I got into a little battle with the city because I had raised beds, which you can see I still got the back wall of the raised beds. But I used to have raised beds that went all the way up to the sidewalk, and I guess I was violating a code, which I was in the public right-of-way, which I have no right to build structures in the public right-of-way. So I was made to take down the raised beds. I drew it out for a year. I fought the city. I said, you know, I'm growing my own food. I wanted to make it look presentable. You know, I could have just tilled up the whole front yard and just made it into beds, but I wanted to do raised beds. You know, I milled all the cedar, I built it all, designed it all, but I ended up having to take them down. You know, you can only fight for so long. And then also behind me, you can see in my front yard, in addition to the raised beds that I have, you can see that I also have, I got 5 fruit trees you can see right behind me, 3 peach, 2 cherries, and then farther up here, I have 2 fig trees and a bunch of blackberry, raspberry, and black raspberry bushes that, like I said, most of the fruit on the farm is more for my personal consumption. It's not stuff that I'm selling at markets. Also right behind me, right up against the sidewalk, I got 4 more fruit trees, 2 fig trees, an apple tree, and a peach tree. And then we get to my last plot, which is right over here. So this is the last block on the farm. It consists of 7 30-inch beds that are 35 feet long. Over here we grow, you know, greens and sugar snap peas and pretty much the same crops, just in a different succession from the other plots. And this plot is actually being irrigated with just an oscillating sprinkler right now. So that's about the extent of Cincy Urban Farm currently. I'll take you back here. I'll show you the bees, the compost pile, and also where the prep station extension will be going later this year. So back here we got 3 beehives, 2 beehives which were filled with packaged bees, and then this is a wild hive that I caught at a friend's house. Compost piles, So Cincy Urban Farm is real big on composting, whether it's leaf compost, vegetable compost, just composting in general. We're all about using organic, natural methods for fertilizing our beds and just building the soil. So now we're back at my backyard. This is the garage. You can see there's some more rain collection here. There's some blueberry bushes, blackberry bushes, raspberry bushes. And this was one of the first raised beds I ever built. And then back here, right behind me, behind this garage, is where the new prep station is going to be built. Hopefully that will be breaking ground in a month or two. We just need more room to become more efficient, because efficiency is everything on the farm. And one of our goals at Cincy Urban Farm is to be as efficient and as sustainable as possible. And the main way to do this is to have systems, to always keep learning, to always keep improving. And education is such a big thing. So our big goal is just to set up systems, and like I said, I learned from people like J.M. Fortier, Curtis Stone, any urban farmer, John Kohler on YouTube. There's so much good information out there. Anybody that wants to do what I'm doing can do what I do. It just takes time, it takes education, and you just gotta just build it slowly, So there you have it. That's the farm. That's a little bit about myself. That's a little bit about the goals that Cincy Urban Farm has for the next few years. I really appreciate you all if you've made it to this point. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, share, and comment on this video. If you have any questions, you can either message me directly, you go to our website, cincyurbanfarm.com. But if you have any questions or comments at all, please leave them below. I will get back to you. Like I said, Cincy Urban Farm is all about building community. I love the community that I've built so far. And we just really appreciate everybody that supports what we're doing. So thank you again. And until next time, y'all, have a good one and keep on growing.